Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. Today we have What's Up with Houston, Cleveland City Connects, and legendary sports writer Jerry Izenberg right now.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome, baseball family, to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad, and I'm here with our fearless co-host, Mr. Brig. How are you today, Matchy, Mr. Twin Man?
First of all, we didn't plan this. And second of all, I wouldn't call myself fearless. And third of all, I have the allergies of all allergies going on right now.
Indeed. You can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, it's here.
So we always overlap when we do lists and stuff. This is the first time I think we've ever overlapped on wardrobe.
I think you're right. Like ever.
Yeah. Yes. This is the first time. I doubt it will be the last.
It won't be the last. Yeah, for sure.
So before we get things, because we have a bunch of things, we have a fantastic interview that we want to get into with, like we said, legendary sports writer Jerry Izenberg about his new book, Larry Doby in Black and White. And stay tuned because we have more on that giveaway. So some details there. Before we get into anything, we wanted to let you know we have a merch store again. It's been a long time since we've had one. I think it's been, a couple of years now, Brig?
A couple of years.
Okay, this one is hosted by Millions. They've been helping us out with some stuff, and one of them they've been doing with us is our merch store. You can hit the link down in the description. It'll take you straight there. We have a few shirts and stickers right now. We're going to be having more stuff dropping periodically. We're going to revamp some old designs and things like that, and we're going to get them up there eventually. But right now, we're just going bare bones, super basic. Head over there, get yourself a t-shirt. Like I said, we got stickers there as well for you. So that's just the link down in the description on Millions, or you can go to millions.co and search for Baseball Together. Okay, let's get into things here, Brig. So first, we want to talk about last week's City Connect drop. Right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting seeing those Tigers City Connect, right? Like, I should say Detroit, because it was more of a nod to the city of Detroit than it was to the Tigers, right? And I found out something interesting. Paul Lucas of UniWatch, I was watching an interview with him last week, and he was talking about the City Connects. And the thing he said that they're not meant to appeal to baseball fans in particular. Is that this is a way for baseball to sell jerseys, t-shirts, and other merch to like super casual baseball fans and non-baseball fans, because you're going to have somebody who's willing to buy a t-shirt or a jersey that just says Detroit on it, or Motor City, if they have a real sense of like civic pride, right?
Yeah.
That they're going to wear that. They don't have to necessarily even know that it's a Tigers jersey. That is just straight up Motor City, Detroit. That's all that it boils down to for them. That this is Major League Baseball's way of trying to get into a new demographic. And I felt like that almost justified the way things look. Right? That it's like, okay, I get it. Like, if you're just going specifically for the Motor City look for people who don't follow baseball, because there's nothing on there other than the jock tag and the undervisor that says Tigers. And that was the problem I had. But somebody who's not a Tigers fan doesn't care.
You're right.
Right? So,
okay, hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. Here's my thing, right? In any business, what I've always heard is that you want to grow your base, right? You lay your base down, you keep your fan base happy, who your base customer is, or whatever you call it, right? You serve them first. You always make sure that group of people, those buyers, whatever you want to call them, you feed the base and you keep it moving. It's got to be a perpetually running machine. I don't feel like all of these City Connect uniforms across however many we've seen now, I don't think they all accomplish that. Do they all accomplish the goal you have just articulated? Yeah, I think they probably do. But does it also serve the base fan population? I don't think so in every case.
It might though, because I don't know any Tigers fans, so I haven't had a chance to be like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you like it?
Sure.
Right? Like, I am obviously biased towards the Seattle Mariners City Connect. I think they look great. If somebody else says I don't like it, I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to. But this is my team. I love what they did with it. I love the blue. I love the yellow. I love the font. A little bit like I shouldn't say a little bit, the heavy nods to the Seattle Pilots, who happen to be a completely different organization than the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
That team is in Milwaukee. But to me, it all says Pacific Northwest. I'm a Pacific Northwest kid. I love it, right? Mm-hmm. So there are probably going to be people who are Tigers fans are like, that's really cool that they went Motor City. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Although I have been watching other reactions and I've been reading the comments in YouTube and specifically on different social platforms. And it is a mixed bag, right? Mm-hmm. Everything that I've been able to glean. And people are saying, I'm from Detroit. I'm a Tigers fan, whatever. They're calling themselves out. It's still a mixed bag. It's not 100% one way or the other. It's not even 60-40. It's not.
Yeah, it is interesting the reception even locally that these things get. And I do feel like they're better many of them are better received locally than they are nationally.
For sure.
So then that's significant. So let's see what they look like on the field. Why didn't we get to see the helmets? Those helmets are sick. Like those are awesome helmets. But
here's a great shot of the city connecting.
Great view.
Right there. That's how they look.
That shot.
Look at the hat. Yeah.
I'm not laughing at the play, Brig. Not laughing at the fact the ball in between. I'm laughing at the uniform. It looks like something that somebody would wear on like a Saturday old man beer league softball.
Yeah.
Like on the field, it looks like a legitimate old man softball uniform. And the hat, I cannot get past the hat.
I can't either.
The font is so small and just so basic that
it's so dumb.
On the field, it doesn't look like it belongs on a big league field.
It doesn't look like it belongs anywhere. I don't care.
A flea market. It is a flea market hat. It is a flea market hat, Brig.
At best.
Brig,
I don't know what kind of trashy flea markets you're going to. Brad.
I'm going to tell you, Brig. I'm going to tell you. I've been to a flea market in downtown El Paso, Texas, and I swear I saw that same hat there. Yeah, this is my point of reference for a flea market.
All right, I've been to some trashy flea markets. Okay, let me be clear. But
I put that's the only time I've ever carried my wallet in my my suit coat.
Yeah, and you're right close to your heart. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
That's funny. No, I think the uniforms are fine. Whatever. If that's your thing, I'm not going to knock it. It's okay. But I don't care who you are. The hat is so bad. You can't tell me there's one fan anywhere that's like fire. That hat is rocket fire. I'm like, no, you find me that person. Now, watch. The comment section is going to light up.
I hope it does. I hope it does.
I want to know.
To find anybody who is in love with that hat.
I really want to know. Sound off.
Person, the first person who says legitimately without lying in the comments that hat is fire will get a sticker. I will be able to tell if you're lying too.
Yeah. We'll read between the text.
Nobody's getting a sticker because everybody would be lying.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, okay, let's
talk about the Astros.
Let's talk about the Astros. So I thought this was really funny, Brig. This statement came out last week. This is before the Thursday show, but I wanted to really have a chance to look into some numbers to back up my thoughts on this. So Houston Astros GM Dana Brown was asked if the team would be sellers coming up soon because they're off to an absolutely horrendous start by anybody's standards, and by the Astros standards, it's even worse, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Going into Monday night, they're 16-25, 6 games back in the division, which, could be worse. It'd be worse pretty much in any other division. But I think the Mariners are going to start to pull away. I think the Mariners and the Rangers are going to start to pull away from that, right?
Unless the Rangers keep getting swept by the Rockies.
Boom! There it is.
What? Anyway, go back. Sorry.
Anyway, so this is what he said.
Thing.
Dana Brown was asked if they're going to be sellers. This is what he said. No, I can't envision that. This ball club is too good. We have a really good rotation, a really good bullpen. Our bats are off to a slow start. I can't predict any scenario where we become sellers. This team is too good. Okay, so he's backwards, first off, because I saw this and I was like, that doesn't feel right. Right?
No.
And so I went and looked up some numbers. Let's look at the pitching first off. So what he said was...
That's what he addressed first, right?
Yeah, really good rotation, really good bullpen. Yes. Like, traditionally, yes. Really good rotation, really good bullpen. You've got Josh Hader and Ryan Presley on the back end of your bullpen. You should be untouchable in the 8th and 9th innings.
Yeah.
But they haven't been. Spoilers, 8 blown saves this season so far. Let's get more into the pitching. They're 28th in Major League Baseball in ERA, 28th in whip, 25th in hits per 9, 29th in home runs per 9, 3rd most walks, 6th most home runs allowed. Like I said, 8 blown saves. For context, the Tigers and the Pirates lead the league with 10. So it hasn't been good. The starting rotation hasn't been good. The bullpen has not been good. Now, he also said our bats are off to a slow start. No. The offense is first in batting average, 7th in OPS, 7th in home runs, and above league average in runs scored. They just haven't been able to push those runs across because part of the problem, I will say this, part of the problem that they've been having, or they've had the last couple of years, is stringing together hits. Right. They rely a lot on home runs. The last couple of years, it's been solo and 2-run home runs, but a lot of them they hit a lot of them.
But yeah,
like they've been in top 5 in home runs hit. But the fact they're outside of that is their problem with that their offense cannot support a pitching staff that has just been a sieve. So
I love that you use that word. It's my favorite.
I'm just, Brig, how can the GM be so out of touch with what's going on with his team? Like, just not aware.
That's the thing that kills me is the sheer lack of awareness. Because, like, I'm looking it up. We've played 37 games, right? 38 games or whatever.
Yeah. A quarter of the season.
Alex Bregman has a negative 0.4 WAR over 144 at-bats. He's only had 29 hits, 1 home run. He's at 201. His batting average is at 201.
Okay, so he has not been good, but Jose Altuve has been good. And
yeah,
Kyle
for
Tucker
sure
is like we've been saying for years that he should be an MVP candidate, and he's playing like it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, So if you look at the whole, you're right. He's wrong, but it makes you wonder where his eye is going. That's what I wanted to bring up. Like, yes, he's out of touch, but also what is his perspective? And if he's like, why is Alex Bregman not, then of course he's going to feel that way. I don't know if that's what he's thinking, but
that's true. Maybe he's looking at individual guys.
Well. What?
Because Ronel Blanco threw a no-hitter and went, what was like 16 innings without giving up a run or a hit?
Right.
So maybe he's
just myopic. Good. Maybe he's just myopic. It has nothing to do with
maybe.
I don't know.
But being myopic isn't going to get you back in the division race when you're 9 games under 500.
Nope.
So fascinating, though. Really interesting that he phrased it the way that he did with the way things have been going. I was thoroughly confused. And then like I said, I wanted to look up the numbers to make sure that I was remembering things correctly. So,
well, you nailed it, Brad. And we're all grateful for your hard-hitting analysis. It adds layers of context.
In conclusion,
our experience.
The Astros stink.
Yeah.
And I like
that's
it.
my line. That's my analysis piece.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes made his much anticipated debut. Did you see? I mean, you saw PNC Park.
Watched the whole thing.
PNC Park was full of the brim. Did you watch the rain delay break, or just the Skenes outing?
No, the whole thing.
Yeah, you had the rain delay playing in the background, everything.
Of course.
Ambient rain noises. I like
Well,
it.
who doesn't want ambient rain noises? Okay.
I love it. Anyway, okay. So he finished his outing with a 6.75 ERA. We're going to start with the low because that's a little misleading. As Brig put in our notes. Don't let it fool you.
It's misleading. Don't let it fool you.
So if you watch it, though, you know, because he went 4+. He went into the fifth, didn't record it out in the fifth, but then he came out, but gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, tossed 84 pitches, had 1 hit batter, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 17 pitches that were over 100 miles an hour and has thrown the 9 fastest pitches in MLB this season in 1 outing.
9 of 10.
Yeah.
Of the top 10, his are 1 through 9.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So he certainly has the gas, right, that we were all waiting for.
Yeah.
I will go ahead, Brig. Tell us some of your thoughts and takeaways from this outing.
So he's got the gas. That's the first thing, right? And mostly he's got the command to back it up. I thought his fastball got away from him a number of times. Totally okay. I think that's where the hit batsman comes in. I think that's where the walks come in. But when he scaled it back, when he pulled the string a little bit, you talk about Greg Maddux telling people to just, slow it down a little bit, right? When he did that and he started throwing his off-speed stuff, whoa, man. Everybody was sitting 103, and they were just waiting, and they were ahead of schedule a lot. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And the break on some of these pitches, like that splinker he throws,
that splinker's nasty,
is insane. So I think we're all excited about his heat, and I think that makes sense because it is something to see. And when it's accurate, like truly pinpoint accurate, it's unbelievable. But I think it's equally it's equally impressive to watch him throw junk. That's what I wanted to say.
That's the thing that I like is that he can change speeds, that he's not just up there just like, I'm going to blow by you every time, because that's not how it works at the big league level. Right. You can't get away with that. So I was watching and I kept waiting for him to like jam guys hard inside, but he never did. And I thought that maybe it was just me because I was kind of watching while it's, things got kids running around, But I was watching Foul Territory today, actually, and they were talking about that. I think it was Eric Kratz is like, he's got to be able to go inside on guys, but he didn't. He didn't at all. And I was like, I'm glad that it wasn't just me who noticed that. Yeah. But I am going to give him a pass on that. This is his first outing. He probably was not quite ready, didn't quite feel ready for it. A little bit of nerves. Get the nerves past him, and let's see what he does with his next outing. Let's see what he does with his second start. And the other thing is, 84 pitches is not that much for a guy who regularly threw 115 to 120 in college.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm
going to push play on the video while you're talking. I'll push play.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. We haven't shown the video yet. So you can see some of the stuff that he's doing here. There's 101 on the edge. And that is the thing, though. Like,
look at that break. Ooh. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That splinker came inside at 101. There's the bomb he gave up. And he's like, yeah, okay.
It snuck out. It snuck.
Yeah. It did.
But I thought it was interesting they pulled him at 84 pitches. I wonder if they just didn't want it to get away from him, because I think at that point he'd given up 2 hits in a row. Was that what it was? I think he had runners on first and second.
I don't remember, but something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a walk and a hit, but he had runners on first and second, nobody out, and I think they just didn't want it to get away from him. So let him leave to a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Very excited. I think they'll let him go longer this next time. They ought to, at least, because I think they should do it. And this is the big thing, though, Brig, is that he's such a big dude that his power does not come from spinning the crap out of the ball and whipping it. It comes from the power in his body, the power in his lower body. He's 6'6", 220, I think.
Yeah.
That the power comes from his lower body, so I don't think he's going to have injury issues. That's the biggest thing here, I feel like.
That's a huge deal.
Strasburg had injury issues. Yes, he's a tall dude, but he's lanky. He's wiry. Chris Sale, tall and wiry, has had injury issues. Skenes is a mountain of a man. I don't think he's going to have injury problems.
I don't think so either. I'm looking at when his next start will be.
I think they're doing 6-man rotation, so it'll probably be Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I don't see it yet, but
I can pull it up real quick, I bet.
No, it's okay. I just think that's the thing, as I want to see the next one, and I want to see who it's against, because he went up against a decent Cubs team, right? This wasn't just
not just a decent Cubs team. They're pretty good offensive team.
That's what I mean. Like, this is not a pushover Cubs team right now. They're doing great, and I don't know. I thought it was so. I want to see who he's up against next. Did you pull it up?
So this weekend they're playing. I had it and then I didn't have it.
Oh, okay.
They're playing. Looks like they're playing the Cubs again this weekend.
Oh,
they're playing in Chicago.
Friendly confines.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
So not only
that'll be telling.
Is it? Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Not only is it that a team has a scouting report, it's a team that's seen him, and now they're going to be playing on their home field
in 10 days. 10 days ago, within 10 days. Yeah, but I mean, they'll see him twice within 10 days, and once at home and once away. That's cool. That'll be really just as interesting as his debut, I think.
It'll be a really good test to see what he's got this early.
Yeah.
So. Cool. It was exciting, though. It was really cool, and I love that PNC Park was packed.
Oh, yeah.
For a team that's not that good. So, very good.
It's good to see.
Okay, so this is fun. I'm excited about this. It has been announced by Lionsgate Television there's going to be a TV series about Shohei Ohtani and his former interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara. It is in the very early stages of development. In fact, it's so early, Brig, that there is no writer or network attached to this yet.
Right.
Like, we're going to do this.
They're just like, it's going to happen. We'll find somebody.
So I have 2 questions for you, Brig. First off, what kind of tone do you think this show will have? And then also, what kind of tone do you want it to have?
Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, neither do they. And that's fine.
Right.
So what I would love to see is I want a mixture of heist. So I want the tone to be heist and psychological thriller. I want both of those tones coming at each other. I want it to be I want the investigative police procedural side psychological thriller, and I want the heist side. So in order to do that, we would need 2 principal narratives, and the first one would be following Mizuhara, and the second one would be following the investigator. And everybody else is just these B characters running in and out. Ohtani being one of them, because he is not the principal character. If I'm writing this story, it's Mizuhara and the chief investigating officer, whatever that is.
Okay.
And so I want the investigative officer to start way back and follow the breadcrumbs all the way to this bookie doing illegal gambling operations in Southern California. And then I want to see Mizuhara coming over to Los Angeles and then being linked up with Ohtani. And I want him to start all the way back, and I want him to fish together. And then I want it to explode. I've thought a lot about this, Brad.
You have thought a lot about this. So okay, so I have thoughts on this.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think what they need to do is they need to get Jared Hess in to write and produce this.
Okay.
Writer Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, no.
Nacho Libre. Did you ever see Masterminds of Zach Galifianakis?
Yes.
Owen Wilson?
Oh, my word.
That's
with
what
the
I want this to be.
The denim photo shoot.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I want this to be a Masterminds type series where it tells the story and does a good job doing it, but it's hilarious. It's like a parody that just like Ipe Mizuhara is just a mess and just this terrible gambler. Like he said he was. Like he showed text messages to his bookie where he said, I'm terrible at this sports betting thing, where he just like can't do it, has no idea what he's doing, and is like a bumbling idiot as he's meeting in a back alley or trying to like make a phone call. I think a Masterminds tone on this whole series would be a massive hit, especially if Jared Hess does it, because he does it better than just about anybody.
Yeah, agreed.
So
Mhm.
that's what I want. I do think, though,
I
I think it will be more of a psychological thriller, like what you're saying, because
Yeah.
that's going to appeal to a wider audience than a
Yeah.
Jared Hess series
Jared
would.
has such a niche tone, and he
Well,
you're
he's
right.
polarizing. He's super polarizing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess you can't be super polarizing, but he's polarizing. And because people either love or hate Napoleon Dynamite, same with Nacho Libre,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I don't know
for
who
sure.
all saw Masterminds, but I love that movie. We reference it every day
Yeah.
at our house,
Yeah.
especially the denim, the denim photo shoot.
The denim, that's the one I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. I'll never get over. I cried for 3 hours, had to do my makeup. To do my makeup at least 3 times, or whatever she says.
It's so funny. But yeah,
No,
that's the
oh,
series
man.
I want.
Guys,
But
it
it's
is
probably
not
don't write it.
it's not for everybody. Okay, don't sit here and think we are endorsing it wholeheartedly. With Nacho Libre, it fully endorsed, okay? But
But I will
Masterminds is
say, I'll
not
say,
for
Brig, if
everybody.
you like Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, you'll like Masterminds.
But you have to like both. If you're like, I
Yeah.
liked Nacho, but I didn't like Napoleon Dynamite, then you're not going to like Masterminds.
Yeah. Or vice versa. Yeah, you're
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that note, let's go to the ump show.
Let's go to the ump
The
show.
ump show. So Mother's Day got a little heated in Milwaukee.
Mhm.
Cardinals are playing the Brewers, and the Cards challenged 2 plays, and they won. They were successful in both challenges. Alan Porter, the home plate umpire, was talking to the Cardinals bench, right?
He was taking some heat from the Cardinals bench.
Okay, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and share this with us?
I'm going to push
video.
play on the video and I'll narrate. Okay. Voiceover narration. Ready, go. Okay. Okay. So here's the first challenge. Little base hit. Doom. Supposed to be a double play. It was. Second challenge. Throw. He's out. There's the play. He says, I'm safe. They challenge it. Toe tap, ball, bang, bang, play. He's safe. Now, here comes bench coach, Daniel Descalzo. Daniel Descalzo is chirping. He is hollering at the home plate umpire. Yeah, don't read lips, baseball family. This is not our lip reading situation. Home plate umpire Alan Porter tosses him out of there. Oli Marmol comes out. Descalzo comes out. They get into basically a verbal fisticuffs, which I know doesn't actually exist. But look at these guys. And so I just thought it was amazing. You get two calls wrong from your crew, right?
Both at first base.
Right. Plus, there are balls and strikes issues all day long, and it wasn't just against St. Louis. Even the Brewers were having an issue with the strike zone. But so my opinion here is that the umpire crew was sensitive. I think they're being a little I think he was embarrassed. I think they were calling him out on their stuff, being shoddy that day or whatever was going on. And I think Descalzo let it get out of hand from his angle. But I also think that Alan Porter was being really touchy. So it's probably a perfect storm, honestly.
So if you go back and watch the full video with the audio and everything, Jim Edmonds was doing color for the Cards. On the Cards broadcast, he was saying straight up that Porter was being unprofessional with the way he was addressing Marmol.
Right.
That he shouldn't be in his face yelling at him like that. And
it's the umpire's job to turn around.
Yeah. You can't have rabbit ears as an umpire.
No. And not only that, but when a manager comes out and starts giving you the business, right? You're supposed to step back, stay calm, and either turn around or stand there and take it. Now, you don't have to stand there and take it for a really long time, right? You don't have to ensure that it becomes an extended affair. But when you get back in the face of the manager and you're giving it as best as you're getting it, as good as you're getting it, then then you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I'm looking to pull up the umpire scorecard from that game, which I know is not always 100%. It's not bad.
They do a really good job.
Porter missed 2 strike calls. There were 2 balls below the zone that he called strikes, and then there was three pitches at the top of the zone that he called balls. But it looks like, based on his like established strike zone, that those 3 pitches at the top of the zone that he called balls that should have been strikes, similar pitches were called strikes earlier. So he wasn't really consistent with himself. He did have 92% overall consistency, which isn't bad, but it's below average. 97% called strike accuracy, 97% called ball accuracy. So not a bad day from behind the plate. But the problem is, like, I can see the frustration, though, when you get an umpire at first base who has missed 2 calls against you. Because there was somebody, was it last year or 2 years ago, where there was like 5 calls overturned over the weekend.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember the details, but
I was trying to figure out, because this is Sean Barber at first base in this game, and I was trying to see if it was him. I don't think it was, but somebody had 5 calls overturned or something like that over a weekend. And if Sean Barber had 2 in a game like that against the same team,
right,
in similar scenarios,
both double play balls, one defensively, one offensively.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird, though, when stuff like that happens. And I feel like Marmol had a legitimate beef, and I'm sure some of that frustration is the fact that his team's underperforming.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and maybe if it continues, we'll talk about Goldie on Thursday or something. We don't have time tonight. But Paul Goldschmidt's having a rough go.
He sure is. Okay, we're doing things a little bit out of order here today, but it'll make sense when we go. So we're going to skip to today in baseball history. Today in baseball history, May 14th, 1988, Jose Oquendo became the first non-pitcher in 20 seasons to get a decision, taking a loss in the 19th inning when Ken Griffey Sr. hit a 2-out, 2-run double to lead the Atlanta Braves over the St. Louis Cardinals 7-5. That's right. Ken Griffey Sr. played for the Atlanta Braves. Totally forgot about that.
If you had asked me that, I'd have said no. If the question was, did Ken Griffey Sr. play for the Atlanta Braves, I'd have been like, no, of course not.
Yeah, I know. And I went and double-checked Baseball Reference to make sure that indeed is what happened in that game. And sure enough, played like 2.5 years for the Braves.
Wow.
Okay. We had City Connects released this week. In fact, they released today, late yesterday.
Today.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, it was late yesterday.
Let's talk about
you do the narrative. I'll throw the images up. How about that?
Perfect. Throw the first one up there, Brig.
Huzzah!
So first thing first, these are inspired by the Guardians of Traffic statues, which is where the team name comes from, the Cleveland Guardians, and why we call them the Cleveland baseball team as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they went a little radical here, Brig. They decided to stick with the color scheme. Stuck with the red and blue. But they did go just a little bit darker red, a little bit darker blue here.
Yeah.
You notice across the chest there, this is Tristan McKenzie. You see CLE written in, that's Art Deco for those of us who don't know, which is also the bridge's Berea sandstone color. It's not a true white. That is a sandstone color with the CLE. It's meant to look like the statues, the Guardians of Traffic statues. And then you've got the pattern there. It's kind of a silky looking pattern from what it looks like. Like, I don't think the material is actually silky, but it looks a little, it looks like it's not actually silky, but it looks kind of silky based on the pattern that they have on there. It's kind of got some marbling, and it's supposed to mimic the natural wear and tear on the sandstone of the statues over the years, which I think is fascinating that they chose the wear and tear on that, of all things, for the texture. Do you have the jock tag and the tag there and the back tag there, Brig? Perfect. So the jock tag you can see there on the right on the image says the land, which you would expect from Cleveland. The Cleveland Cavaliers did this for a long time as well with various things. And then on the back of the collar there, on the inside of the collar, it says EST 1901. That was the team's inaugural season, 1901. Do we have... There we go. Right, is that what I was looking for? I skipped something. You can kind of see it on this one. Do we have one where we can see the shoulders, Brig?
No, not better than that.
So there are stripes that go across the shoulders. That's just a callback to teams from the 80s. If you are familiar with Major League, with the Major League movies, you can see those stripes prominently in their uniforms, and they brought them back across the shoulders and down the sides on the stitching there on this City Connect.
I'm gonna get you one.
Let's look at the socks real quick too, because I think the socks are probably the best part of this whole thing. I think that's awesome. So the socks, those are the guardians of traffic. That is so cool that they're letting them wear socks with this on it during the game. Like, where is this anywhere? This imaging, where is this anywhere in the Cleveland Guardians logo or whatever arsenal, Brig? Why don't they have this anywhere? That's cool.
Well, I'll tell you where it is. It's on the clip art logo with the wings. That's what you see.
It's not. I know, but it's not this.
It's not this. Yeah, this is cool. Way better with the baseball bats in hand too, instead of the trucks. Yeah,
that reminds me of that picture you got over your left shoulder there, Brig.
Which one?
The baseball together one, the Lady Liberty.
Oh yeah. The one baseball family. We had this design. This is a custom piece.
Yeah, it's like an OG design.
Yeah.
And then let's look at the hat.
Piping.
Oh, you found the piping. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, that looks very 80s. Yeah, and it goes all the way down the pants too. We couldn't see the pants before, so it goes all the way down the piping on the pants as well. I think that's probably the best touch of this whole thing.
Well, and don't forget that it's like a really intricate braid. It's not just the design in a color block. Let me see. There you can't see it very well there, but that's the whole look with the white pants.
White pants. They get it.
White pants.
They get it.
Okay, talk about the cap.
Okay, the cap. It has a red visor, white field in the front of the crown, blue around the back of the crown. They went back to the old C logo from the Cleveland Indians days, the late Cleveland Indians days, right?
Yeah.
Before they switched over. Actually, no. Is this the same C?
This is the one they're using now.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I was thinking
they kept it, and they specifically kept it to tie the past to the future and the present and the future. They wanted it all coming together.
Yep. Exactly. That's it. Tie the past, the present, the future, everything. And then one thing I did read was that a lot of this was also calling back to the 90s teams, like the Jim Tomei and Kenny Lofton teams of the 90s that were really, really good, which I think is a perfect way to go, because I hated those teams despite
really good
so much. Because they eliminated the Mariners in 95, so I had a lot of disdain. So these uniforms will debut this Friday, the 17th, May the 17th, and Cleveland will wear them every Friday home game throughout the rest of the year. What do you think about these overall, Brig?
The red, white, and blue, I love. I think it's the color scheme is executed perfectly. It's not my favorite color scheme for a City Connect, just because we've seen them play with colors in much more radical ways.
Like a third of the league uses red, white, and blue.
Exactly. So this was an opportunity to do something different. But if you flip it, reverse it, and scratch it, and do whatever kind of Willy Wonka thing you want to it, it will be the only City Connect that retains the red, white, and blue. So I don't know how you want to look at it. To me, though, if you're going to do red, white, and blue, this is a classy way to do it. But that I don't think is the goal of the City Connect, although maybe it was for them. I don't know. I think the cap is super boring because it's one you could probably find at the team store prior to this or something very close. So I'm really disappointed in what I see with the cap, not because it's poorly executed, but because it's derivative. I wanted something more, I don't know, radical. Wanted something more energetic.
I still wanted rock and roll, Brig.
See, and I thought the rock and roll was kind of played out. Like, if you'll remember, I think I called for the land across the jersey.
Yeah.
So, and I got it on the jock tag, which is fine. I don't hate the CLE across the chest. I think that's fabulous. I think that's a great decision. I even love the Art Deco design inlaid with the CLE on the front right here. I think that detail is really cool. Plus, I'm a junkie for 20s and 30s, so that's my thing, right? So, no, I don't hate them. Okay, I don't love them. But they're one of the classier looking City Connects that we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. My big takeaway is that it was safe.
That's a perfect word for it. I
That
think
they
I was
didn't-
trying to use too many words to say that.
They didn't go out on a limb with anything. They didn't really take any big risks with anything. They, like you said, kept the color scheme when they could have really mixed it up. They could have gone crazy with all kinds of things with, like I said, with the rock and roll and the vest jerseys and whatever I was calling for before at the beginning of the season, where they just were like, what's the team name? The team name is based on an iconic part of the city. Let's just take it and roll with it. And so they took it, they played with it, they were safe with it. I thought the execution was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Art Deco lettering, the texture on the jersey looks cool. Those socks are killer. They look like something that you would buy at like a comic book store.
And that's my issue with them, is that they're too comic booky.
Oh, I love it. See, I think
you love it. See, and that's just sensibility differences.
Yeah, and so I think it's awesome, and I absolutely agree with you on the hat. You probably could have bought that 2 or 3 years ago at the team store.
Yeah,
it's almost like they designed the jersey and then they went with they're like, well, let's just stick with white pants, the piping. Oh, we don't have a hat. We got this one. What do you think about this hat?
Make the colors a little darker. Yeah,
yeah.
And now charge $65 instead of $35.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever.
So they could have done more with the hat, although like that is one of. So I don't buy white hats, but I do like them with the white field across the front. So I like the style of the hat. Love it.
That's my jam. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But my only issue with it is that they didn't take enough risks with it overall, which, it probably would have killed them for it if they had. But
we maybe would have. Yeah. You're right. And we recognize the hypocrisy, baseball family. Like, we get it. We know. Yeah. That's why I was so quick to say this is the classiest one we probably will ever see. But
yeah,
still safe.
Yeah.
Elements are boring. It's not all the way bad, though.
I do want to see the risks taken, though. That is the thing. I appreciate the risks they took with the Detroit one, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate the risks that they took with the Tampa Bay one. My only problem with it was that the pants looked like sweatpants. That was legitimately my only problem with the whole thing.
Right. Lest we forget, the Chicago White Sox City Connect uniforms.
Radical, and it was radical.
It was fantastic. It still is fantastic.
One of the best.
And that white pinstripe on a black field. Oh, bro. It's got everything. They look like modern day suits.
Those up close? Like in person? Dude,
yes.
They look even better in person.
Listen, baseball family, you got to stay tuned, because very soon we're going to do a rundown of all the City Connects, and we're just going to have to do a ranking or something, because
we will.
Maybe at the end of the season, or maybe the end of next season. I don't know.
Yep, we'll get there. We'll have to do it, because I think everybody's going to have them by the end of the season, and LA will have to. But anyway, so there's your Cleveland Guardians City Connect uniform. But speaking of Cleveland, we got to talk with author, and I say author, he's many other things, among them legend, Jerry Izenberg, about his new book, Larry Doby in Black and White. Just happens that Larry Doby played for Cleveland back in the day. We have a copy to give away to one lucky listener. To enter, head over to Instagram, to the Baseball Together account. Head over to our Instagram, and you like the post featuring the book, give us a follow, and then tag 2 friends in the comments, and we will pick one person who has entered to win a copy of Larry Doby in Black and White. So you have until Friday, June the 14th. So everybody who can comment and enter in that time, you must be following to win as well. So like I said, follow, like the post, tag 2 friends. By June 14th, we will pick one lucky winner based on a random number generator, and we will reach out and contact you on Instagram. We'll send you a copy of your book.
Larry Doby was the first African-American player in the American League.
Yes.
He was called up to play in the big leagues weeks after Jackie Robinson. It's a fascinating story.
And one thing that Jerry shared with us, I don't remember if it made it into the interview or not, but Larry Doby was the first African-American to hit a home run in the World Series as well.
Bam.
It's a fascinating story, a fascinating book, and we're going to get into it and talk to Jerry Izenberg about it right now.
Welcome back, baseball family. We have Jerry Izenberg with us, and like we do with all of our guests, we are going to get him in a rundown and a couple of questions for you. First, Jerry, what would you say is your quest?
Is my quest
Yep.
to stay alive to tell all the stories I know. Larry Doby is in Black and White is my 15th book. I've been in the newspaper business for 72 years. I'm the only person I know that turned down the New York Times.
What is your favorite color?
My favorite color?
Yeah, favorite color.
I would say sepia because when we stand side by side, my wife is brown and I'm white.
Ooh, sepia. That's awesome.
You'll
That
never
is a
get
unique
that
answer.
again. You'll never get a smartass like this again either.
I'm asking the hard-hitting questions here today, Jerry.
Yeah, you are. Brad's got the hard ones. Your favorite boyhood baseball team?
Oh, it was dichotomy. For me, it was the Newark Bears, greatest minor league team in history. Every 4th of July, my mother gave me a brown paper bag with a bologna sandwich and an apple. I got on a bus. I went to Jersey City. In the morning, 22,000 people saw the morning game. Got on a bus, ate the lunch, and then went to Newark where 15,000 people. So it was 37,000 people saw that rivalry in 2 games. And I hold a grudge against baseball for what it's doing to the minor leagues because minor leagues make cities live.
Criminal.
That's
Yeah.
100%. We agree with you.
That's something we could do a whole show on because
We could.
It's terrible.
My next question for you, Jerry, is if baseball was an ice cream flavor, what would it be?
Baseball or an ice cream flavor?
Yeah.
Today it would be vanilla, which is as plain as you can get when you're going to colors, because they have ruined every good side of the game. When I was in love with baseball, my dad, growing up and throwing a ball back and forth in the alley and whatever else, I would have said baseball was a double dipper, part pistachio, part rum raisin, the two most exotic flavors I could think of.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
So, and then we'll get into the book a little bit more. Is Babe Ruth overly romanticized today from what he really was?
I saw Babe Ruth not play. Sitting in the dugout, he was manager of batting coach of the Newark Bears because the Yankees owned him. They had to give him a job. I always felt he did save the game of baseball. He did because of the home runs. You know, home run Baker hit what, 7 home runs? I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I could hit 7 home runs on the Sandlot in Newark. But baseball was going to need saving because what they thought, what the owners thought was saving baseball was Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Right.
Because he threw out the 8 dumpers. And there's a great debate about whether all 8 of them were dumpers and whether Shoeless Joe, who hit so well in the World Series, whether he really was a dumper.
Yeah.
But he threw them out, and they thought that saved the game. They hired him only because attendance had gone down for 2 or 3 straight years. So they said, "You're the czar. You do whatever you want to do. You can do it." But that didn't save baseball. What saved baseball is the attendance started to go up when Ruth started hitting balls. You got to remember something. Ruth was very famous as a ball player before he hit home run. Well, he hit a couple, but he was a pitcher. Right. He was one of the greatest pitchers. He may be the greatest player. I don't know about that. I've always frowned on that because I believe you judge players by their era. Look at basketball. Basketball now is aerial volleyball.
Mm-hmm. We talk about that all the time, comparing players with their era. Absolutely, yeah.
You can't do it. The game was different.
Yep.
And baseball was, the eras are so easily divided. The dead ball, but then the lively ball, which was a plan. A couple of times, every time we'll get a home run slump. I don't care what they say. We get a lively ball.
Yeah.
Home runs, you went to fill the park.
Mm-hmm.
No hitters don't fill the park.
Let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk more about Jerry's book, Larry Doby in Black and White. Welcome back, baseball family. Again, we're with Jerry Izenberg, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a breakdown of his bio. There's way too much to cover. If you don't know Jerry, he's a legend. I'm going to give you some of the info right now. So he's an award-winning journalist, U.S. Army veteran, and a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, as well as the New Jersey Hall of Fame.
He's been nominated for 15 Pulitzer Prizes during his career. And more than anything, Jerry, like, I think you're not journalist, you're a newspaper man. Is that correct?
Well, that's going to be on my tombstone.
He's covered 53 Super Bowls, 58 Kentucky Derbies, and considered the late Muhammad Ali a personal friend for decades. His latest book, it's the 15th book, Larry Doby in Black and White, the story of a baseball pioneer. It's currently available, right? Came out today. And congratulations on a 15th book.
Well, thank you very, very much. I hope I can hit 50 or 60 before I finally... Well, I got a lot of stories to tell, and I'm going to find a way to tell them.
That's wonderful.
But this is very personal, because Larry was my friend for 35 years at least, and fell through the cracks, and that never should have been allowed. Because I don't denigrate with Jackie. How can you denigrate it? Jackie was Jackie, and he did a marvelous thing. But I'll tell you, in the book, there's a quote from Doby saying Jackie deserves all the credit he got. He took all the crap, he lived with it. But nobody ever said, we'll be nice to the next Negro that comes along. And that's the story of what happened.
Yeah.
Jackie got in the Hall of Fame first year he was eligible. Larry didn't get in until he was, I think, 78 or 83 years old. It was the Veterans Committee that put him in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're interested, I can tell you a story about that. Larry swears I got him in. I kept telling him, you're wrong. I worked very hard for about 6-7 years after I got to the Veterans Committee. But the last time, it was this time he got in, he said to me, look, I'm not going to get in. Don't embarrass yourself, and don't write any more about it. It's done, and that's it. So what?
Yeah. I'm
going to Newcomb's condo out in California, and that's where I'll be. I'm not going to wait around to hear from them. So that's what I paid no attention to. I took one more shot, and I wrote the nastiest thing I could write. And the column said, why am I not surprised that the Veterans Committee is not putting him in? Because some of you guys didn't want him to play baseball in the first place. Whoa. And then I mailed the clipping to every member of the committee. I got one response. That's what got him in. It began, dear asshole. And it said, Monty, meaning Monty Irvin, Yogi, meaning Yogi Berra, and I have been pushing him since he got into our jurisdiction. So get off the couch and get the votes we need. And it was signed Ted Williams.
Whoa.
So I didn't get any votes. But anyway, but Ted was a major factor in that, because going back to when Larry broke in, I got to tell you this. He reports to the Indians. And as you know, 5 guys shake his hand. 2 guys face the wall. A bunch of guys give him the limp handshake. The manager, I don't care what anybody else says, the manager did not like him and grew to hate him. And one day I said to Larry, after all those years, I said, maybe you got this thing wrong. Did it occur to you, maybe he doesn't want you here because he doesn't think the team is going to let him manage them because you're going to be a big distraction. And he said, that's a really smart idea. He and Jackie were so different and yet so alike. I'll give you 3 reasons they were both shows. They had played with and against white kids much of their lives. 2, they went to college. And 3, they were war veterans. Now those are the credentials. That's World War II we're talking about. Those are the credentials that qualified them both in a lot of people's eyes. Larry was not one to push the envelope, unlike Jackie. Jackie would tear the envelope up, but Larry would internalize every type of thing that happened.
Criticism and everything.
Everything. But the name of the chapter after the prologue in this book is Cleveland Ain't Brooklyn. Larry went to a city that was segregated. The schools were segregated. The hospitals were segregated. There was a big amusement park out there blacks could not go to. And if you went to the movies, you sat in the balcony. Well, that part was not new to him because he and his friends would all go to the movies. He came to Patterson when he was 13. And they'd all go to movies, and then he'd walk up to the balcony because he was not allowed in the theater.
You've dedicated over 70 years of writing professionally about sports. And both of us are writers. We're both trained journalists. So I wanted to ask you, what is it about sports that captivates you the most? And why, of all things, did you choose to write about sports?
The family consensus was that I should be a lawyer. And we're sitting at the supper table one night, and my mother says, fondly smiling at her baby boy, who was about 12 or 13, "You're going to make a great lawyer, Sonny." And my sister, who rushes anytime she can to denigrate me in those days, says, "You can't be a lawyer." And my mother says, "Why can't he be?" And I said, "Yeah, why can't I be a lawyer? Because the first time you stand up and say, 'I object,' and the judge says overruled, you're going to say, 'Who the hell are you to overrule me?' No, it can't be." And she was right.
That's like my son. I tell him all the time, like, if I tell you to duck, you're going to say why instead of ducking.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I was a very snotty kid. I really was. I had all the answers, and I found out later on I had none of them.
That's what we
As
learned.
one does.
The more you learn, you find out the less you know.
Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, one of them was dying, and disciples were gathered around him, and the last thing he told them was, "I am still learning."
That's awesome. Is there one thing that you would say unifies all sports?
It did before they started to give out participation trophies, was winning and losing. But I'll tell you something about losing. You're not going to hear this anywhere else because it was said to me. Lombardi and I are sitting in his den. He's not the coach anymore. He's the general manager. And he's going to leave anyway. I said, "Well, why do you look so glum? You won the game." He was always a bad interview when he won because he was still in the game. When he lost, you could ask him anything. Most people, it's the other way around.
Right.
So I said, "Well, you know what? You won. Isn't that the object here?" He said to me, "I want to tell you something. We were good friends. I wish I never said winning is the only thing. I wish I never said it. Because what I was trying to say, and I didn't articulate correctly, was leaving the field, putting everything at you, having nothing left when then you've won." He said, "But I said the other thing, it's easy to remember, and I don't like it."
So we've been sitting here with Jerry for almost an hour, Baseball Family, and he's told us many fantastic stories. Is there one or two, let's just say, is there one story that you wanted to get into the book that you weren't able to fit in there?
In the book, the Larry Doby book?
Yeah, in the Larry Doby book, yeah.
It's a good question. I find that when I write books, like the book before this was biographical. It was the first 21 years of my life. And every day I say, this should have been the book. I had no notes. I was a 90-year-old man remembering the first 21 years of his life, and the real good stuff never got into the book. This book, I think we really made everything in it. I'm just wondering whether there's anything. I wish I had taken more time. I think I did. The Civil War is in this book. I mean, this is a social document.
Right.
Because Larry's deprivation was a social deprivation. I wish I could have done more with the friendship between Larry Doby and Joe Taub. That was his best boyhood friend, although he was 4 years younger than Doby. Taught him. Larry Jr. said to me, my dad, I said, your dad taught Joe a two-handed set shot because Doby was a great athlete. And he said, yeah, he laughed. He said he never had a jump shot. I said, Junior, let me tell you something. Nobody in America except a guy named Hank Luzetti had a jump shot. Nobody knew what it was in those days.
Yeah.
But anyway, their friendship was so. I did get in the book, but not to the extent I would like it. Larry Doby, in the book, as he stood in front of Joe Taub's apartment building, they agreed to take a tour from me. I said, I want you guys to go walk back to the old neighborhood. and I want you to point to buildings and tell me what they were and what they meant to you personally. That is in the book, and that I'm very proud of. But Larry, Joe told the story. Larry wouldn't tell it. Larry used to stand in front of my front door and throw rocks in the air and take a baseball bat and hit them over the roof of our building, and they landed in front of his building, which was in the next block away. But I wish I'd amplified more what they meant to each other. It was the guy that founded ADP. He said, we never had any racial problem here in this area. Never. Blacks and Jews. And of course, if we went downtown to the movie, there was a racial problem. He had to go sit in the balcony. But I'll tell you this. He said, racial problems we just didn't have. It wasn't it wasn't what religion or what color you were. It was which team did you play on in the neighborhood. I'm not going to go out with that guy. He's plays for Cow Street. He said, that's what it was. And Doby said to me, I'll make a little correction here. He said, racial problems, stuff like that, we didn't have any problems because they were somebody else's problems. That's a quote from Larry Doby, poet laureate of Paterson, New Jersey. And nothing he ever said is more important.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Question, I hope.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. I've got one more question, and then we're going to let you go. I want to talk about the photograph, and I'm going to pull it up. It's probably it's at the end of the World Series, and Larry Doby is hugging Steve Gromek.
Oh.
And I want to talk about that briefly because just to give everybody context, Cleveland has not won a World Series since Larry Doby's first full season in Major League Baseball. It's 1948. So they win the World Series. Doby and Gromek embrace. And I feel like that championship was immortalized for far more important reasons than, hey, we won the World Series. And I think the photograph is the reason behind that. What can you tell us about that photograph?
I can tell you the whole history. A photographer called Larry over. He's on the other side of the room. He said, hey, pose with Gromek. Now, Gromek was the fourth pitcher. So he went all the way in that game. And that was an accomplishment in itself. That picture appeared on the front pages of so many newspapers. And some of them were through the very deep South where no black man and no white man had ever embraced on the front page of any newspaper. Doby, you would expect to get some kind of feedback, but it's strangely enough, Doby got the good feedback, Gromek got the bad feedback.
Really?
And Larry said to me, that picture, when things would go bad, they really go bad for me. I think of that picture. This year, they gave posthumously the Congressional Gold Citizens Medal to Larry Doby. His son accepted it. The front side of that medal is the same for everybody. The recipient decides what goes on the back. Larry wanted that picture on the back of the medal, Larry Jr. And Steve Gromek, the pitcher, had two sons. They wanted the picture. And Larry had to get a signed release in order to put that picture. Gromek lived in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. He said, I'll get the signatures from you then. I got your front row tickets for Billy Joe. They said, no, we don't want them. We want you to come to our house. We want to get to know you because your father was so remarkable. Now here's what that picture meant. That picture, Larry Doby Sr. used that picture in his address in Cooperstown after all he'd been through when he said, America desperately needed that photo. And I'm glad that the two of us could give it to this country. That was the highlight of his speech. His share of the 1948 World Series was $6,000. A fellow deserves credit. His name is Bill Pasquale. I want to say his name if you can get it in the show, because he's a congressman from Larry Doby's district. And he was the guy most instrumental in making this congressional medal happen.
That's terrific.
Outstanding.
Jerry, we're gonna take a break and let Brad sign off, and then I'll stay on and talk to you just a little bit more. So does that sound good, Jerry? Do you still have a couple of more minutes?
Where am I going? I'm 93 years old. I walk with a walker. Do I have any time?
Jerry, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I could sit and listen to you all day long. I love stories. So
we can do this again if you like later on.
That'd be fantastic. Great. Yeah, I'd love to talk about more of your books.
I got more stories. You have to worry about that.
Excellent. All right, I'll let you talk to Brig for a few minutes. I got to roll. I'll talk to you later then, Jerry.
Good.
Thanks, Brad.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Baseball family, thank you so much for joining us, not only for that incredible interview that went on for a very long time, and if you want to get access to the entire interview, you can with all the cuts and all the edits and everything by becoming a patron, a supporter on Patreon. And there are some cuts. It was a 90-minute conversation that we had to pare down quite a bit. So more stories, more nuance, everything. And it was great. Go to patreon.com, search Baseball Together, and you can sign up for the tiers of support: $1, $5, $10, $15, and a $500 tier. It doesn't matter which tier of support you sign up for, you can get access to that whole interview, even at the $1 tier. So,
but
if you like what we're doing,
always a link.
There's a link.
You can navigate through that. You don't have to search.
You're right. But if you like what we're doing here, that is one of the best ways to support the show as well. So, the last thing I will mention is that don't forget to like and subscribe and rate and review the show. Jump into the comments. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Hit the bell so you don't miss anything, which I feel like is getting so redundant. But just do it because you never know. It's super helpful. We drop baseball content all day, every day, and we are going to be here with you through the rest of the season, specifically every Tuesday when we drop the big episodes, and then Thursday nights when we go live, 9:30 Eastern, all the way through the season. So baseball family, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next week.